Hey everybody, I'm Tazeen, the founder of GetHomeLab.com and the Home Lab team licensed in Virginia, Maryland, and DC, also known as the DMV. So I have been putting out a series of videos publishing the results of the local, hyper-local market data. And I thought it was important to back up a little bit and actually explain something about when we look at numbers. It's something that I do very consistently. And one thing I know about when you're looking at data and numbers, it can actually be misleading if you are looking at the wrong thing or if you're not putting things into context. So that's why I thought it would be important to make this quick video just explaining how to interpret what I go over. Numbers can be a great way to read what's going on and see patterns, and that's why I love numbers. And at the same time, if you're looking at something like percentages, they can actually be misleading if you're not putting them into context. So for example, I'm going to do a quick screen share and show you guys what I'm talking about here. If we are looking at, for example, the change like we did in the last couple of videos, the change in days on market from year to year, which is, I pulled up these that we went over last time. So the percentage will tell you the percentage of change, right? And that information is useful for understanding like how quickly things are changing or, how much of a change there has been. And yet, don't let that number scare you because I'll show you why. So for example, one of the numbers, like some of the numbers that are really big on this report right here are the days on market. So for example, Vienna, condos went up 61% year over year with days on market. The Prince William went up 83%. Loudoun went up 188%. And so when we hear those numbers, they actually sound huge and it's like staggering, right? So you're like, oh my God, days on market is up by 188%. That's a lot. So we take that sometimes to mean things like, oh my gosh, the market's crashing, there's so much change going on. And yet when you put it into context, take a look at the actual number. It's 23 days. The one that went up by 100%, it's 12 days. The one that went up by 83%, it's 11 days. So the average days on market is actually those, like it's 11, 23, 12. And what that means is that the days on market last year, where we're comparing it to, were extremely low. So it has gone up a significant percentage, and yet a seller's market is where homes are selling within less than 45, 60 days. Right now, every home, like the average days on market is definitely below 30 in most markets locally. So we definitely are in a good, fast-paced market. In the past few years, in 2020, 21, and part of 22, we actually saw an extremely kind of hyper speed market where closings were happening in like 8 days. The house will come on the market and be sold before it even has an open house or before the first showing happens, because there was a lot of desperation, there was a lot of urgency, and a lot of affordability because there were too many buyers in the market that could afford the same thing. So putting it into context, that number, yes, it's a big percentage, and yet when you look at the actual number itself, it is not alarming. It doesn't mean that, houses are sitting on the market. It just means that they are taking a normal amount of time to sell. There was a statistic that was put out earlier this year that said foreclosures are up like 300%. And people that I spoke to actually here and there where I would have conversations, people would bring up this statistic, and my question to them was always 300% of what? Because in 2021 and 2020 and most of 22, foreclosures were actually stopped. So there was basically nothing. So 300% of like one is 3, right? So the number is not big. And so I wanted to kind of take a pause and just explain that piece, that when you're looking at the numbers, that's why I show you the report. That's why I do a screen share, because my whole goal is to educate consumers, right? That's a big part of my why. It's why I do what I do. It's one of the parts of real estate that I love, is actually bringing information and making sure that it is qualified and it's put into context. So that's what you can expect here on my channel. And as I go through the rest of the reports, you'll see, me go over the data that same way. If you ever have a question, feel free to reach out. My number is 703-889-0349. You can reach me at Tazeen at gethomelab.com or visit my website, gethomelab.com.